Another day of practice for the Saints, and unfortunately, another injury came with it. This time, Demario Davis was the unfortunate victim of an injury, but it doesn't seem too major. Here's all the latest on the Straight Up Saints podcast.
You're listening to the Straight Up Saints podcast.
Welcome back inside another video from the Straight Up Saints podcast, guys. I'm your host, Chris Rosvoglu, and as always, we're brought to you by Scott McNair Injury Lawyers, and also brought to you by Crystal, how New Orleans does flavor. If you guys like the content we've been putting out this offseason and you guys are excited for the regular season, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Boo Crew Media's YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. So Demario Davis, the latest victim. We've already seen Juwan Johnson, Marshawn Lattimore, Chris Olave, Brian Brzee suffer injuries. And now it's Demario. He left practice early this Wednesday due to a hamstring injury, per Dennis Allen. The severity of this injury is unknown at the moment. I don't think it's appropriate for us to spam the panic button, because yesterday Chris Olave got hurt, fell on his hip, left practice early, and he came back today, which is good news. So there's some good news actually for Saints fans who are wanting it. As for Demario, though, obviously he's the heart and soul of this defense. He's the quarterback of the defense when it comes to calling plays and being the leader. So you need him in the middle, but you also need him healthy for week one. So if the Saints got to be careful here, you do what you got to do to make sure that Demario is active and being the disruptive force that he is. As for the linebacker room without him, though, look, the Saints actually have some depth for the first time in a while. You got Pete Werner, who is having a much better camp and had a really disappointing 2023 season, so you want to see him bounce back. And then you have Willie Gay. You signed him from the Kansas City Chiefs. You feel like he can be a factor for this defense. He gives you good sideline-to-sideline speed. Again, this is a former day 2 pick, so there's talent there. So the Saints do have options to right now fill the void. And honestly, this is a great opportunity for both those guys to make a name for themselves at training camp. And we'll see which one kind of stands out from the pack. But obviously, if the Saints are going to be their best version of themselves, they need Demario Davis. He is arguably their most irreplaceable player because of the production and the leadership. Both of those are 10 out of 10s, and you can't just replace a guy like that. So fingers crossed that this is just a minor hamstring injury. I guess the downside is hamstring injuries are so freaking tricky that you may think you have it figured out the next day, and all of a sudden it lingers for weeks, it lingers for a month. So I hope for his sake, he is back on the field soon. As for things that happened today outside of Demario Davis getting hurt, Chase Young had another big day. Alontae Taylor showed up and made a name for himself, which is what you want to see, because I think Alontae's always had the talent. It's more so about stringing consistency, and hopefully he does that. Peyton Turner played well, but I know as Saints fans at this point, he's kind of like the tooth fairy, right? You believe it when you see it, and we'll leave it at that. Isaiah Foskey, another solid day. So really a defensive-oriented practice on Wednesday for the Saints in terms of who stood out. But obviously the big news, Demario Davis getting hurt. And now we just got to hope for the update being a positive one and not one where, man, we don't see him for a couple weeks, because, man, that would absolutely stink. Demario is a dog, and the Saints are not what they, without him, I don't know what they look like. I really don't, because he is a top 3 linebacker, and he's a top 3 leader in this league. You can't replace guys like that. It's so hard to do. So hopefully Demario will be okay. And Thursday, we can hope the injury bug leaves the Saints alone, because, man, this is just back-to-back-to-back days of injuries. And, it's kind of it gets kind of depressing talking about injuries as opposed to good things that happen for the Saints. So that's going to wrap it up for this quick video from us at the Straight Up Saints podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure to put on the notification bell so you get alerted for new videos like this from the Straight Up Saints podcast, the destination for the Who Dat Nation.